morning. Welcome to the April 9th Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners meeting. First item on our agenda is a pledge to our flag. If we would all please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 on our agenda is to review the agenda. Mr. Meyer, please.
Mr. Chair, there is one slight adjustment to item number 5 on the agenda. The last item there, judicial ditch 45, should actually read order redetermination of benefits and appoint viewers. So the material in the packet is correct, just that title on the agenda should be adjusted.
So we're doing 2 things on that action instead of the one that's listed.
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll move the agenda with the change.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The agenda is approved as amended. Item number 3 on the agenda, tab number 1, Children and Vulnerable Adult Policy Provision. I ask Kelly McBride, our Library Services Director, to join us, please.
Up there?
Sure. Come on
We
up.
like
Whatever you're
it.
comfortable with.
I like you
morning.
all. I can sit up here. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please again identify yourself for the record.
My name is Kelly McBride. I'm the Library Services Director.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me here today, and thanks for reviewing this policy. Just quickly, we had a children policy in place. It did not encompass the vulnerable adults we have visiting the library, so we added that section. And then it didn't speak about, we call them unaccompanied adults. Those are individuals who are now spending time in the children's space without having children with them. So that's put us in a position where we need to address that. So those are basically the 2 big additions to this policy. So this is before you today because we are busier than we've been in the last 5 years. 2020 started off, we were going to be the busiest we've been in a long time. Obviously, COVID shut us down, but now we've bounced back remarkably well, and I imagine we're going to be surpassing the numbers we had in the beginning of 2020, which is wonderful. We're so busy. It's so much fun. But with that comes some potential safety concerns, and we want to be proactive in addressing those. And children and families and vulnerable adults are obviously our most immediate concern, and that's why this policy is here before you today.
Okay. So, and we have some additions but no deletions in the current policy.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
I would add that it's been to the library board, they've approved it.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Be appropriate then for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Get a motion and
Second.
a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's carried. The amended policy is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Just a little note, Kelly has won an award, the library,
Yeah.
the Spirit of Youth Award from Community Ed, so
Oh,
way to go.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Item number 4 on the agenda, tab 2, is the All Seasons Arena bid. So we'd ask the appropriate City of Mankato folks to come up and identify themselves as we work through this process. Good morning.
They're all appropriate.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. I'm Susan Arntz. I serve as the city manager for the City of Mankato. As you know, the City of Mankato currently serves as the operator on behalf of the Joint Powers Board for the All Seasons Arena. We've been working on the improvements to the arena for the last couple of years, and we're finally at the stage where we're ready to talk about considering the bids for the work. Today we have our staff who is here to kind of talk you through the myriad of agreements and resolutions you have in your packet and can answer any questions you have about the project and or the financing.
Jim Tatchy, Facilities Manager for the City of Mankato. Just kind of a quick review. We did advertise for bids on February 27th. A public bid opening was held on Tuesday, March 19th. A total of 11 bids were received and opened for the 5 different trade packages. One additional bid was received after the deadline and not open for the electrical package. So the bids did come in favorable, as you're all aware now, with the apparent low bidders, and I'll list them off. So for trade package 1A, the general trades, Metcon Construction was the apparent low bidder with a bid of $2,986,800. Trade package 13A, which is the ice system replacement, Ringtech International is the apparent low bidder with a low bid of $4,514,000. Trade package 23B is the HVAC and plumbing for the building. That went to Malter Mechanical with a bid of $1,114,665. Trade package 26A is the electrical and low voltage package. That went to Laketown Electric Corporation with a bid of $395,782. Trade package 31A is the site work and utilities. That went to Dirt Merchant with a bid price of $205,680. Summary of the entire bid tab is included in the packet. As bid, the total project cost with all the soft costs and not financing included is $12,205,412. And staff is at this time recommending approving all 9 alternates. So essentially everything that was in the feasibility report. And with the favorable bids, we did come in low enough where we can keep our contingencies completely whole as advertised in the feasibility report. Is there any questions on this section?
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Parker Scopehammer, Director of Administrative Services. Going through the financing aspect of this, when we came for you in February, we provided two scenarios. The first being one that included all of the alternates, as Mr. Tatchy noted, all 9, and the other did not include any, and that came in at, it was a $12 million price tag. The high end was 12.3. As Mr. Tatchy stated, the total construction price, $12,205,000, to which Blue Earth County would be responsible for $833,550 payable to the ASA Construction Fund by July 1st, as we've discussed with Mr. Meyer. In that, I would just note that this does, what we're proposing at that 12.2 number does include all 9 alternates, as Mr. Tatchy stated. But the other thing that I would note in the financing that is different from what you saw is that the bid price does include the sale of the R22. Originally, we had a kind of a specific number in there. The other piece that you'll see has changed is that the Mighty Ducks grant for $166,000. We had communication with the Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission. I would say early February, maybe late January, stating that they had some leftover dollars from 2021 collections that had been appropriated out but were not utilized. Ms. Arntz had made it very clear, both to staff and ASA board, that if there is a potential for an additional revenue source, that we would chase it. We had 3 weeks to submit an application. We put that together and were awarded the $166,000. We're one of 3.
Congratulations.
So I mean, I think that just we've stayed true to anything that we can potentially pursue. Ms. Arntz has been steadfast in making sure that we pursue it. So that would be one thing that I would note. Questions on the financing?
Nope, I don't have any questions.
Just a few additional contracts that we have. So staff did identify some of the items in the bid for direct purchasing through a purchasing cooperative to try to save some money and allow us to select the product that we would like. So we've selected Sourcewell, and with that, Becker Arena products. Some of those items, the purchase and install of the North Rink dasher boards, salvaging of the existing North Rink dashers, and then salvage and reinstallation of the South Rink dashers. During the bidding process, we did have communication with Maha as one of the end users, and they brought up one of the items that they would like to see was a synthetic ice floor in the dryland training room. So we were able to rework some of the bidding documents to allow for this in the budget. So that would be an additional item that we would purchase through Sourcewell. So with that, staff is requesting authorization for a contract not to exceed $425,000 with Becker Arena products. So
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you right there just for a second, ask the board, what your wishes are. We've got a lot of actions to do here. Do we wanna do the bids individually together? Do we wanna do all this in one package? It's a little different than some of the things we do that's all within the county, so
Can we do it all in one package?
we can
We
do
can.
anything we're comfortable with, I think.
That's what I would
I
like to
think
do.
we, yeah. we should-
I would
we
like,
can do the-
I would like to do the trade packages and then the other 3 items
Okay.
separately.
So
That's,
you
that's
want-
my
Keep it all-
point, the bids
All
would
the
be separate.
construction is one.
Okay.
Okay, so let's ask if there's any other clarifying questions on any of the 5 trade packages as we're on
I
that.
don't, just congratulations, you know, it's amazing. Good bids, extra grant, way to go.
Well, I would move to approve the trade package.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor
Second,
and a second discussion.
I just want to say that, yeah, this is, it's been a good goal. We've been at it a bit, and I
Long
appreciate
time
what all
coming.
the city of Mankato's done, so it's good.
Appreciate all the help.
Long time coming, good job.
We have really good partners, so we don't do this alone, so.
Excellent example of government working together at different levels and with others as well. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The 5 trade packages are approved. Now, as we talked about the other contractors, are you comfortable, board members, doing those as a group, or would you like to do those individually?
I just do them individually, just keep
Okay.
track. We already talked about Sourcewell, I would move approval of that.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve Sourcewell
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Anything else on Sourcewell?
You guys, anything else on Sourcewell? Okay.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The Sourcewell contract resolution is approved. Second one, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the next item up is the construction manager as advisor contract with Knutson Construction. As you're aware, we entered into a pre-design contract with them early on to take us through this process. Now we're prepared to bring that full contract back to the board for approval. The reason we waited as long as we did was we didn't want you to enter into a contract if we didn't move forward with the actual bid. So as presented, we would look, the total cost of the Knutson Construction contract is $1,272,038, and a copy of the contract is attached. So we would seek approval of that contract.
Okay, we have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Any other clarifying questions? Look, do we have Knutson here? Appreciate that. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. Knutson Construction Services, resolution has been approved. Next one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The final contract we have is a materials testing contract with Braun Intertech. There are code-required items that the owner is required to have inspected during the project, so we've engaged with Braun Intertech to perform those services. So we would look, the proposed fee for these services is not to exceed $32,835. I would ask approval of that.
I'll move it.
Well,
We
second.
have a motion and a second. Discussion.
No questions?
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. Braun Intertech is approved through resolution. Is there anything else we forgot?
The only thing I would add is, as you know, we have a series of partners that are involved in this project. So with your consideration today, our next steps include meetings with North Mankato next Monday and the school district next Monday to, for the North Mankato for their consideration of bids, and then an agreement with the school district for their partnership in their contribution of about $1.5 million towards this project.
Wonderful.
Good job.
Thank you for
And
joining, and thank you.
I thank you
Thank you.
folks
Taking the lead.
for really taking the lead and getting this done with. This is something that the city of Mankato and the greater Mankato area has needed for quite a long time. This has been talked about, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you guys.
Good luck.
Next item, item number 5 on the agenda, starting with tab number 3 is drainage. Mr. Henniker, will you join us, please?
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
I have 5 items today. We'll start with, the first one is County Ditch 1. Blue Ridge County Ditch 1 watershed is approximately 2,700 acres in size and is located in McPherson Township. A petition for improvement was received on February 26th of 2024. Our attorney, Cale R. Van Bruggen of Rankin Union, reviewed the petition and found it to be adequate. Today, we're asking the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority to appoint Mr. Charles J. Brando of ISG and to prepare a preliminary survey report according to Minnesota Statute 103E.
All right, we've heard the recommendation.
I'll move approval.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. We will appoint ISG for the preliminary. Next item, please.
Okay. Item number 2 is setting a hearing for redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 16. County Ditch 16 watershed has approximately 2,200 benefited acres and located in Mapleton and Danville Townships. On October 22nd of 2019, the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority ordered a redetermination of benefits. The engineer and viewers were appointed and ordered to create an updated benefits and damages listing and a viewer's report for County Ditch 16. A copy of the drafted viewer's report for this redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Ridge County Drainage Management staff on February 26th, 2024. Today, we request the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority set a date of May 28th, 2024 at 9 a.m. for the hearing on the proposed viewer's report for County Ditch 16 redetermination of benefits.
Move to approve.
We've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And motion and a second. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's carried. The hearing for County Ditch 16 will be on May 28th. Thank you.
All right, number 3, setting a hearing date for County Ditch 60, redetermination of benefits. County Ditch 60 watershed has approximately 570 benefited acres and is primarily located in Sterling Township. On May 7th of 2019, the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority ordered a redetermination of benefits. The engineer and viewers were appointed in order to create an updated benefits and damages listing and a viewer's report for County Ditch 60. Copy of the drafted viewer's report for the redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Ridge County Drainage Management staff on February 26th of 2024. Today, we request the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority set a date of May 28th, 2024 at 9 a.m. for the hearing on the proposed viewer's report for County Ditch 60 redetermination of benefits.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The County Ditch 60 ROB hearing will be on May 28th. Next, please.
All right, next item pertains to Judicial Ditch 15. Blue Ridge County Judicial Ditch 15 is primarily located in Lincoln Township. A petition for improvement was received by Blue Ridge County Drainage staff on May 1st, 2023. On June 6th, 2023, the Drainage Authority appointed engineer Charles J. Brando and ordered a preliminary survey report be prepared and presented to the Drainage Authority when complete. The Property Environmental Resources Department staff received the preliminary engineer's report on February 28th, 2024. Today, we're asking the Drainage Authority to set the preliminary hearing date for May 14th, 2024 at 9 a.m. in the Blue Ridge County Board of Commissioners room.
Okay, you've heard the request. We
Move
have a
approval.
motion and a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. We have set the hearing date for May 14th. Next, please.
All right, my final item, Judicial Ditch 45. Blue Earth County Drainage Authority is the drainage authority having jurisdiction for Judicial Ditch 45. Judicial Ditch 45 is located in Mapleton Township. The current benefited area includes approximately 1,600 acres, and in sections 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, and 18 of Mapleton Township. Viewers began work supporting, redetermining, and reporting the benefits and damages in the benefited and damaged areas as part of a group of systems for which redeterminations were initiated together. It was recently brought to drainage staff's attention that no records exist of the Drainage Authority's findings initiating the JD 45 redetermination of benefits proceedings. Today we are looking to correct this clerical oversight and clarify the records by recommending the board adopt the necessary findings, initiating the JD 45 redetermination of benefits, and confirming and ratifying the viewer's appointment. At today's meeting of the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority for Judicial Ditch 45, we are requesting an order for the redetermination of benefits and to confirm and ratify the appointment of viewers who are to provide an updated benefits and damages report for Judicial Ditch 45.
Okay, you've heard the request. This is our amended item. I'd entertain a motion to do those.
I'll move it.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Discussion. We're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. We have appointed the viewers, and we will update the benefits and damages for JD 45.
Very good.
All right?
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Long
Good
list, well done.
Yeah.
Item number 6, tab number 8 on our agenda is elections equipment purchase. Mr. Stahlberger, if you would join us, please. And
morning.
identify yourself for the record.
Absolutely. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Michael Stahlberger, Director of Property and Environmental Resources for Blue Earth County. And yes, Mr. Chair, I do have one item for an elections equipment purchase request. Blue Earth County does provide all of the elections equipment throughout the county. That's our tabulators, our assisted voting technology or devices, as well as our electronic rosters. As part of our normal 2024 capital budget process, we requested and were approved to replace all of our electronic rosters, the poll pads. We were able to replace those at about 50% of the budgeted cost due to being able to reuse some of the components that we didn't know we were going to be able to reuse, as well as some just some good old elbow grease of the staff to reuse some equipment by retrofitting it a little bit. But so what I'm bringing forward to you today is a request to use the additional 50% that was originally budgeted to do an earlier replacement of our assisted voting technology. You may be aware, they've been in our polling places now for a few elections. We were using the Omni Ballot, which is a commercial off-the-shelf product or technology for our assisted voting devices. They've worked, they've met the bill, what we needed at the time, but the technology isn't exactly where we'd like it to be for providing assistance to voters. It doesn't give them the complete autonomy to vote independently. It did require some interactions of our election judges, and we were receiving some feedback on that. Anyways, I give you that background because we now have a new piece of equipment that's been certified in the state of Minnesota called the Express Vote. That piece of equipment is produced by our tabulator company, ES&S, and they are well known across the nation. There's 100,000 of these units already in use across the nation. And so this piece of technology is likely going to serve our voters better. We've piloted it the last couple of elections that we've had, the November 23 election and then the PNP. And the voters that were using it gave us better feedback on that. So we are requesting the purchase of that this year rather than waiting until 2026 when we did have that budgeted on our capital budget. Did a lot of math there for you that's embedded into the memo, but really what we're looking at is a total purchase price of $108,000. That includes a credit that they're providing us for the Omni ballots. They're helping cover some of the cost of that equipment because they know it is newer. They are not asking for that equipment to be traded in, so we're going to be working with IT to see if we can reuse some of those commercial off-the-shelf products, printers, convertible laptops that are also touchscreen laptops, sort of things that may have some value elsewhere. But with that credit in there, we're looking at $108,000 in purchase price. With the pole pad savings that we already recognized, we have about $70,000 of that budgeted item already available to us, so that leaves us with about a $37,000 cost this year. Talking with Bob Meyer a little bit more, we would find ways to find those funds. We do have the new voter fund that was approved by the legislature that has a little bit of money in it for this legislative session that we can draw from. And then we also did budget for those replacements of the ATVs, or AVTs, the assisted voting technology in 2026, which would obviously come off that capital budget for that year. We won't need to do them again in 2 years. So we are bringing forward that request. I'd be happy to answer questions about the technology. There's a unit still downstairs that we have available if folks are interested in seeing it after the board meeting or something like that. But we are looking for approval to essentially spend that additional money on a different technology piece and then also go over that by about $37,000.
All right.
I'll move approval.
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Discussion?
Michael, refresh my memory how old the other iPads are.
So the iPads are older. We've been using them since 2018 is the year that I like to target for that. Those iPads are being replaced because of Apple's processes.
Sure.
They no longer support operating systems after several iterations, and so we're getting to the point where they won't be supported anymore. The Omni ballots were also purchased in 2018 and finished in 2020. So I know we've been around enough now. I hate to say that it's been around long enough now, but we've had that conversation. Elections, technology just doesn't have the shelf life that you'd expect technology to have. It doesn't get used very often, but it has to work on the day that it has to work.
Right.
And so those replacement cycles just absolutely have to be met. And so that's where we really work. We've been working a ton with Carrie in IT to say, like, how do we reuse that? And we're really pleased that we were able to get some of our iPads to the library so that they can be deployed to some of the assisted living communities. Physical Plant is taking a couple of them to try to use them in their operations. So we do try to reuse them because they have life in them. But we do have to kind of stick to those schedules as best we can for that technology and elections
Yeah,
world.
and we've had this conversation, so
Yeah.
that's why I appreciate that, because they probably only have a couple days of use on them.
Yeah.
They might be 6
Yeah.
years old, but they just don't get
Yeah,
used. And
absolutely.
you use them at P&Z, which
Yep,
is
yeah,
another
P&Z
use
has
for them.
got
So
some of them. Corrections has some
Yeah,
of them.
so it's-
So we have more, and we're looking at what we can do with them if there's ways that we can get them into other nonprofit groups and whatnot. But
well,
part of
thank
our
you for
mission
that.
is to not throw things into the landfill or
Thank you.
waste them as best we can.
Remind me how many live precincts we have?
Right now, we have 10 small cities and townships that vote live on election day, and then in the city of Mankato, we have 17 precincts, so a
Okay.
total of 27.
And
we
how
have
many do you-
29 precincts are mail ballot precincts, and they would be voting here on election day.
Okay.
Total of 56.
So how many do you use for early voting and
In terms of
when you
The-
have that,
the poll pads?
no,
Oh.
the assisted voting?
Yeah, so that's actually, Commissioner O'Connor, that's a really good, it's hard for me to call you that, but Commissioner O'Connor, that is actually one other piece with this new technology that we're really looking forward to. Without going too far in the weeds, these new express votes use a agnostic ballot, meaning that the ballot is not pre-designed to the precinct. So for early voting, which is coming our way in 2025 or 2026, our intention is to set up this equipment in our booths so that we can use a blank ballot stock for all of our early voters and not have to purchase specific stock to be
Nice.
used in those locations.
That'll
That'll
save a
be
lot of money.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also prevents a lot of potential error. We know that everybody's gonna get the right ballot when the ballot is printed on demand for them rather than handed to them by our election judges. So, but anyway, so to answer your question more succinctly, we have added about 5 of them into our purchase, but because we have so many polling places near the courthouse, we can use them the Monday before the election and then deploy them that next day if need be as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep.
I too appreciate the staff work and the reuse of as much of the equipment as we can. Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote?
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's carried. It is approved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Michael?
Item number 7, tab number 9 on our agenda is Public Works. I'd ask Ryan to come forward, please, and identify yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Ryan.
For the record, Ryan Tilges, Blue Earth County Engineer and Public Works Director. All right, I have quite a few action items today.
Just couldn't let drainage or.
I'll do you a good job.
Always gotta be the biggest and the
Got a little
best.
competition going here today.
Well, I'll start maybe with the good news that I've got bearing the lead. And we were awarded the $1.5 million local road improvement program grant for Victory Drive reconstruction project this year. And with that, we were looking at reallocating the local funds that we had reserved for that share of the project and utilizing those for several large box culvert replacements and maybe a rural bridge replacement project yet this year. So we got into looking at all these right-of-way resolutions that were needed, and my staff handed me an extensive list, and well, they've got to be done at some point, and once I start doing them, I should just get them all prepared so that we can start buying right-of-way for all these projects and have them on the shelf and be shovel-ready. So that's why the list is longer. These aren't all ready to go. However, we think we're going to have a significant onslaught of box culvert and bridge projects that we'll be able to deliver this year because of that excess funding.
Excellent.
All right. So the first action item in the board packet is consideration of State of Minnesota Agreement number 1056054 and a resolution that's included with the agreement for lighting and maintenance agreement for CASA, that's a typo, it should be CASA 2 at Minnesota Highway 22. So this is for the reconfigured intersection. As you recall, MnDOT will be relocating the intersection to a location slightly farther south and reconstructing the very western limits of CASA 2, tying back into the existing road to create safer access points, better sight distances, and kind of a global improvements as part of the Minnesota Highway 22 reconstruction project next year. And I know, I think Commissioner Brunder has seen plans for that project. Maybe Commissioner Stuenberg has as well. So with that, they will be adding lighting at the intersection of Minnesota Highway 22 and CASA 2. And MnDOT's cost participation policy typically requires that the local agencies bear all maintenance responsibility if they put it in as part of the project. We've been fortunate to be able to negotiate with them where at certain intersections we agree to take it and other intersections we do not based on who's initiating the project. In this circumstance, they wanted me to take CASA 2 and CASA 57. I took the lesser of two evils in a matter of compromising with them. The CASA 57 with the continuous T intersection was going to be much more maintenance intrinsic, so I decided I really didn't want to take that one. Our forces aren't really equipped for this type of work, and we rely on contractors for it. But with that being said, we do have an agreement for maintenance at the intersection with CASA 2. I would recommend approval of the agreement as it's provided in the board packet, and noting that the resolution is included as part of this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion.
That is so much nicer when they straighten up those intersections, the one over on 60 in Madison Lake. What an improvement to that road. I mean,
Yeah.
it slows the traffic down, that are people that are going down to that road. That's nice to see.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes. The agreement and resolution are approved.
All right, thank you. Second action item in the board packet you're receiving right now is consideration of award of bids for State Aid Project 007-682-010. This is for CASA 82 Victory Drive from 522 feet south of Hoffman Road to 389 feet north of Marwood. This is that south half of the segment that's remaining to be reconstructed. We received two bids. We had an engineer, one from Dirt Merchant Incorporated and the second from Minnesota Paving and Materials. The engineer's estimate was just a little bit over $3 million, as you can see on page 3. The Dirt Merchant bid came in at $3,144,807.43, and the Minnesota Paving and Materials bid came at $3,181,166.89. With that, the bids were fairly tight to our engineer's estimate within a few percentage points. I would recommend award of the contract to Dirt Merchant Incorporated.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion and a second discussion.
Such close bids on such
Yeah.
a big price.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's amazing.
yes.
Good thing.
That is.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. That bid is awarded to Dirt Merchant.
Thank you. The second bid for your consideration is for the County Stated Highway 69 Minneopa Tunnel Repair Project that we spoke about a month ago. State aid project 007-669-008. The bids are making their way around to you now. We received quite a few bidders, 6 I believe. The engineer's estimate was $164,044. The low bid was SM Henches and Sons, who is the bridge contractor working on the County Stated Highway 13 bridge right now. Their low bid was $187,500, and then we had an array of bids. A few that were close, and then they got really some real interesting bids from contractors that we haven't worked with before, or that had quite a bit of evidently risk that they thought was in there, with the high bid being $617,000. So sometimes contractors just throw numbers at projects like these in hopes that nobody else bids them, and they can make a sizable profit margin. With that being said, I would recommend award to SM Henches and Sons.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, discussion? Get too many more bids, the font's gonna get too
Yeah.
small for me.
Yeah, I know.
This one I have to dig out.
I'm
this
sorry, I
one.
should have printed that out. I
No,
do
that's
that
fine.
once a year just to check on you guys and make sure.
Lots of bids is a good thing to have. Any discussion, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried, the bid is awarded to SM Henches.
All right. These, and further Commissioner's information too, the reason we don't put the bid results in the board packet is because we don't share those until they've been awarded. They will be posted to our project web pages, so the contractors can look at all the unit prices after the fact.
And I think that's appropriate as we ask for lots of bidders, no need to give out information that's not pertinent to the end result.
Absolutely. Action item number 3 is consideration of, item number 4, excuse me, consider awards for bids of the 2024 traffic painting striping contract. If you recall, over the last couple of years, we were down to one bidder, Sir Lines-A-Lot. Now there's been, as I understand it, a few employees from Sir Lines-A-Lot that have broken off and are starting their own traffic striping company. So it's interesting to see how this cycle happens. And this year, this Camco Incorporated, who has won several other county striping bids, was the low bidder below Sir Lines-A-Lot at $339,955. As I understand, other counties have awarded to them. We do have obviously bid and performance bonds in place for these types of things to ensure that the work is done. I think it's great to see competition within this industry that has been somewhat stagnant and kind of owned by one company. So with that, I would recommend award to Camco Incorporated.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, discussion? Close bids, but still significantly higher than last year's.
Yes, we're still seeing those significant price increases. It's just mind-boggling how that industry has spiraled out of control.
Any other discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The bid is awarded to Camco.
Okay. Action item number 4 is consideration of bids for the 2024 CRS bituminous material contract. This is for the materials that we use for our chip seals. You can see that we received 2 bidders this year with HG Meigs and Jebro. HG Meigs was significantly lower and actually a lower price than last year, so that's a fantastic trend to see. We don't see that too often. With that, I would recommend award to HG Meigs for $558,875.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second, discussion.
Am I reading this right, Ryan? It's even a little more tonnage on, oh no,
Should be the same.
25 tons more on the,
The CRS, the one diluted was up 25 tons.
okay.
Yep.
But it's still lower price, good.
Yep.
All right, we have got a motion and a second. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes. The bid is awarded to Meigs, is that how you say that?
Meigs,
Meigs?
I'm not sure, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, action item number 6, consider awards for bids of the 2024 maintenance gravel hauling contract. We received 3 bids this year with W. Lawrence Company being the apparent low bidder at $227,600. Max Johnson Trucking in second, and R&E Enterprises at third. Up a little bit from last year, as we would anticipate with labor and equipment costs rising and fuel prices, of course. But with that, I would recommend award to Lawrence Company.
Move to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The bid is awarded to Lawrence.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll get into kind of this glut of right-of-way acquisition resolutions. I'll try to keep it moving through them fairly quickly. I will list the bridge number and the road number, if that's all right with the county board, and the resolution would authorize the county engineer and the county attorney to acquire right-of-way, including use of eminent domain where necessary, and the descriptions of the bridge and the water body that it spans over are also included in the resolution. So the first one, action item 7, consideration replacement of bridge number 90523 over the Willow Creek on County Road 146.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 8, replacement of bridge number L8990 over an unnamed stream on CASA 26 on the north side of Mankato.
Move
So
to
moved.
approve.
Second?
Is there discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Thank you. Item number 9, consideration of replacement of bridge 90519 over an unnamed stream on CASA 14.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. We're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Replacement of bridge number number 10, replacement of bridge number 07509 over the Big Cobb River on CASA 4.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 11, replacement of bridge number 90529 over the Perch Creek on County State Highway 25.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 12, replacement of bridge number 90555 over an unnamed creek on County Road 156.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 13, replacement of bridge number 90571 over the Perch Creek on County Road 139.
Move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 14, consideration right-of-way acquisition replacement of bridge number 90550 over unnamed stream on County Road 157.
Move 157.
Second.
Got a motion and seconds. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution is approved.
Number 15, resolution for the replacement of 2 box culverts over Judicial Ditch 1 on County State Aid Highway 2.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The resolution for the box culverts is approved.
Number 16, consider right-of-way acquisition resolution for box culverts replacement on County Road 184.
I'll move it.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. This box culvert is approved.
Number 17, consider right-of-way acquisition resolution for reconstruction of CASA 10 from the West County line to CASA 20, including the replacement of bridge number 90515.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. That is approved.
Item number 18, consider right-of-way resolution for reconstruction of CASA 82.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Resolution is approved.
Last one, consideration of right-of-way acquisition resolution for the CASA 40 slope repairs located approximately 2.3 miles south of Minnesota Highway 30.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. That resolution is approved.
All right, thank you for all of those. We'll move on to discussion items. The Vernon Center Shop adjacent land appraisal. The appraisal was completed by Appraisal Services of Mankato. It was appraised at the highest and best use of the property, which is the current use of residential. The appraiser from Appraisal Services of Mankato appraised the property at $26,500. Again, that's the north half of that property. It is two platted lots, and that tracks in comparison to comparable sales that he used for his evaluation in the cities of Mapleton, Lake Crystal, and the surrounding smaller communities. Additionally, we did look at the properties across the street, and their appraised values were in that neighborhood as well. I will say, though, that the current Blue Earth County Assessor's Office appraised value for the property, for the land itself without improvements on the land, is at about $15,000. So this came in considerably higher than that. However, it seems to be slightly above, I think, where we had anticipated it would land. But when it comes to buying land from landowners, that we typically find that is where you want to be, or they're not going to want to talk to you. So with that being said, I would request a discussion from the board for approval to move toward negotiation of a purchase agreement for the property. It could potentially be contingent on it being rezoned to the industrial use that we would require for our public works facility. I know Commissioner Brunder had also said it may be in the county's best interest to just secure the land regardless and work through that one way or another and just protect the county's interest at that site. So I'd like to have board discussion of whether you'd like to see us negotiate a purchase agreement, bring it back to the county board, or if you'd like me to bring a resolution authorizing me to move forward with the county engineer for right-of-way, the county attorney for acquisition of said property, and how the board would like to proceed.
I am certainly comfortable with moving forward. I would like to see us get it rezoned, because it's a lot better use to us that way. And then if that doesn't pan out, then we'll have to move into the second discussion about whether or not we want to still purchase it or not. A little higher price than I was anticipating, but at the end of the day, it isn't a great deal more. And just having control of that property, I think, is important. So I'd be very supportive of it with the rezone.
Is that a
And
motion?
comfortable with that. I don't think we need no motion today, do we, or just some direction?
I think if we're pursuing rezoning, we probably could wait.
Could be contingent upon that, so.
Yeah, I think we could develop a purchase agreement that it would be contingent on the rezoning.
I'm okay with that.
The purchase.
Yep. Me too.
I mean, other property would be just as valuable if it could be, zoned appropriately, so it does kind of depend on the zoning a little bit on this, so. Okay, is that appropriate, Bob, where we're at?
Okay.
Are you
so-
comfortable, Ryan?
Yep, I will work with administration, with the county attorney's office to come up with a purchase agreement with landowner, with some of those contingencies included. We'll work on that negotiation. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our informational items, CASA 13 on our project updates. CASA 13 from 169 to CASA 1 that we started in 2023. Mathwitz will have 2 pipe crews working on culvert and tile crossings beginning this week, so they should start making significant progress. The bridge deck pour is tentatively scheduled for next week. Weather permitting and utility relocations are underway. It's tough for us with the way the winter has been in the spring. That I think since February I've kind of been itching to get going on construction projects, but then you have to remember it's still technically winter, so it's finally good to see things start breaking loose, although in your reptile brain it almost feels like it's 2 months later than it should be because of the way that we had this very peculiar winter. So good to see work taking place. CASA 11 from the West County line to CASA 6, the pre-construction meeting was held on March 21st. The contractor R&E Enterprises did get the trees cleared in the last week of March to meet the northern long-eared bat requirements, and then they plan to close the road on May 6th to begin reconstruction. CASA 82 from south of Hoffman to Fair Street, the LRIP grant award we've discussed, the notification, so we will be bringing that grant agreement forward to the board at the next board meeting to get that executed. Pre-construction meeting will be held to obtain the contractor's schedule and coordinate utility relocations. And the contract starting dates, though, for the board's information, are June 10th, and the completion date is August 23rd. So a fairly tight time frame for them to get in there and try to get out. And there's quite a bit of utility relocation and coordination that has to happen in a relatively small footprint. We have pre-ordered the light poles and traffic signal poles, as well as the mast arms, ahead of time in hopes of trying to reduce the contract time. As you may recall, that was an issue on the previous project, so we did pre-order those. The County Stated Highway 29 Bridge Replacement Project, we're anticipating final plan approvals from MnDOT and cultural resource approvals reviews because the project limits got extended a little bit. It's been frustrating to see it have to go through another round of iteration of all those approvals, but thus is the federal project pain scale, maybe I would want to use the word, that just, unfortunately, there's so many sets of eyes that look at these, and it slows things down significantly. Once we receive the authorization to bid the project, we'll do so. We would anticipate building that bridge late summer and into the fall. Again, that was 80% federally funded.
Thanks.
With some IIJA funds. County Road 146 Bridge Replacement Project, the plans have been approved. MnDOT has approved $501,000 in local bridge replacement program funds for the project, coupled with $234,000 of local funds for a total project cost of almost $736,000. We tentatively plan to bid this project in late May and again have a similar construction timeframe to CASA 29, summer and into fall. So that's awesome to see us getting into, there's about $26 million of local bridge dollars left from the 2023 allocation. We are anticipating that that's going to be depleted by midsummer, so I've been pushing our bridge consultants to get their plans done as soon as possible, because once the bridge plans are approved, that's the trigger, if there are funds available, that you're able to secure that funding for your project. Bituminous overlays we have scheduled this year for County Stated Highways 3, 9 in Lake Crystal, 16, 28 north and south of St. Clair, 38, 55 and 56 in Eagle Lake, 86, 120, and 183. We'll open bids on May 8th to consider on the May 14th County Board meeting. County Stated Highway 5 from Riverfront Drive to Summit Avenue. We recently had our project design kickoff meeting with Bolton and Mink, who will be beginning design of that very complex and challenging project. We anticipate that there's bedrock in many of the locales there that are going to be challenging to reinstall, and there's going to be a significant full reconstruction of the city's sanitary sewer and water main along the project, as well as considerations for the city's quiet zone study for the railroad crossing. So the city will be doing some coordination, the city engineers, with their city management to determine if that's something we want to include in this project. I would anticipate it won't be, and that'll be something that they have to pursue outside of the contract, but we may be able to put conduit and other elements in to set it up for success in the future if need be. That's going to be very challenging from a construction phasing and everything else. We are anticipating that the concrete pavement portion from, I believe it's Cleveland Avenue to Summit, so effectively through the Highway 14 interchange, has concrete pavement in place. And if you may recall from the County State Highway 5 corridor study that was completed, there was kind of an inconclusive recommendation for the intersection control for the interchange with Highway 14, where roundabouts were recommended for safety improvements, but I think there was enough concern from staff and others and the board about the significant amount of heavy commercial truck traffic going through there, that choking everything down to a single lane roundabout, that intersection was concerning, to say the least. And we're actually seeing traffic volumes at those interchange intersections decreasing over time. So the recommendation was to kind of just hold tight, wait, and continue to monitor it and look at it again probably in another 5 years. So that's why we wanted to go through and do a concrete pavement rehabilitation project, try to buy ourselves another 10 to 20 years on the life of the concrete pavement. So we'll be going in and doing some partial and some full depth repairs of the concrete pavement. Bolton & Mink has solicited American Engineering Testing and some of their expertise to help us with that CPR plan. And the hope there was too that we could get through doing that perhaps a lane at a time and keep traffic moving through without having to do a full closure on that concrete pavement, because there's so much industry there. It's a logistic nightmare without any other access to get trucks in and out. We're also, we did execute months ago a intent to cost participate agreement with the city of St. Clair for reconstruction of CSAH 15 and 28 in city limits. We still need to solicit a bid for engineering services once we have kind of our construction projects out to bid and we can catch our breath. That's on our radar to move into design on that project as well. Staff is designing CSAH 10 from the West County line to CSAH 20. The project design is progressing well. We have scheduled a public meeting for May 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Public Works Building. And that will include, again, that bridge replacement project. And then the last but not least, the County Stated Highway 40 slope repair project that we received 80% federal funding for through the Protect grant. The design work will resume this fall. It was getting to a good point. It's not terribly complicated, but we do need to jump back into it this fall after we can get a bunch of these box culverts and things ready to go out the door. And then also wrap up the environmental documents that have to go in with the project memorandum. Maintenance crews have been busy reclaiming gravel shoulders, hauling gravel and reshaping gravel roads with the recent moisture we've received. Washing bridge decks over the next few weeks. The city of Mankato will be sweeping all of the county stated highways within city limits this week as part of our municipal maintenance agreement and their stormwater pollution prevention plan. The crack sealing activities are going to resume as well this month. Drain tile intake repairs and ditch cleaning is also underway, and we'll begin doing calcium chloride applications in mid-May, so we're getting quite a few orders and people stopping in paying for their calcium chloride application. As the board may be aware, we call the companies that also do that work privately to ensure annually that we're not undercutting their price, so we check our material prices and then we see what their price is for doing the same work to ensure that we're at or above their prices. The EV pickups, carbon reduction grant, the pickups are being advertised. We're going to open bids on April 29th for the May 14th board consideration. So we're excited to get one of those in our fleet and see how it performs and how it works and functions for us.
Are those pickups regular two-seaters? I mean,
They'll be crew cabs. They only build.
They're going to be crew cabs.
Yep. That pickup, the Lightning, is only available, and that's the only one that we can bid right now.
Okay,
because the Chevy and Ram
just
aren't out
didn't
to
know,
market.
but that makes sense.
Yep, they're only building them in a crew cab configuration.
Great.
And we are going with the extended battery pack option, so it's 320 mile versus 220 or whatever it is mile
Smart.
pack.
Because if you're going to pull something, it's going to drain it down faster too.
Correct. Yep. Yep. And we've attended some presentations from MnDOT District 6 that bought the short battery pack pickups, and they have failed to meet their expectations and their needs. So we thought we'd be hamstringing ourselves if we even considered that. And the grant, fortunately, was adequate to cover the higher price pickup. In order to get that, we had to go up a trim package. They won't be loaded by any means. They'll be an XLT trim package. All right, the 2024 Highway User Tax Distribution Fund. Pass out copies of this, and the commissioners, if you want more than one, feel free to grab a couple. This is our annual handout from MnDOT that just shares with the board breakdown of the 2024 Highway User Tax Distribution Fund. I know you guys see this every year, so I'll go through it relatively quickly. The revenue sources are the fuel tax revenues, it was $881 million. License fees were $921 million. Motor vehicle sales tax, $667 million. And auto parts sales tax, interest, other $220 million. That goes into the highway user tax distribution fund, so to about a total of $2.7 billion. That goes into the 95% distribution, of which the county stated highway program gets 29%. So the CASAD distribution that goes out is $755 million, distributed to 87 counties based on the different sums that are shown in the calculation there. And that all rolls down to Blue Earth County's share of this, which is about $11 million, 11 to 12 million if I remember correctly. So wanted to share that with the board. And like I said, if you want a couple extra copies, if you're in conversation with folks, feel free to keep a few extra copies. All right, last but not least, Rapidan Dam update. We've seen some signs of life out of the FERC. I wouldn't say they're setting the world on fire, but it's good to see some minimal progress. On March 19th, they did publish a March 14th U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Information Planning and Consultation IPAC website, which is an analysis and a listing of federally threatened and endangered species and habitat areas. So that was published, I think, for just part of their due diligence. On March 29th, we filed the 2023 Dam Safety Surveillance Monitoring Report, which meets our annual obligation for that report. Other than that, we have reestablished electrical service to the dam so that we could operate minimal amount of lights and then a trash pump in the pits for the generation equipment so that we can keep those dewatered to minimize any future damage to the equipment, although I'm afraid the damage has already been done 8 years of them being inundated, but there was concerns about contaminated materials leaking into the water and then washed out, so we'll keep that dewatered.
Mr. Chair?
Sir?
Are those generators still down there?
Yes.
They are?
Yeah.
All the equipment's there yet?
Yes.
Okay.
We had contemplated taking it out, but I think the thought was that they've already been subjected to so much flood damage that the damage has been done, and until we kind of determine
salvageable.
Yeah, if the contractor maybe puts a salvage value on them versus the county trying to figure out what to do with them. So that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any questions? Public
I don't have
Works.
any questions at this point.
Okay.
Appreciate the updates and the social media on the 13 project. I think that helps
Yes.
keep people from driving down and looking themselves when they know what stage the bridge is at. So
Yes, thank you.
I hear good things from that, so thank
Awesome.
you for that.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Item number 8, tab number 10, is the county attorney's monthly report in our packet. You probably noticed the county attorney had an issue come up, so we will, if he is able to join us later, we'll ask if there are any questions, but I would make note that his monthly report is in there under tab 10. Item number 9, Mr. Meyer, County Administrator's report, please.
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioner, the first item is the county board minutes for March 19th.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The March 19th minutes are approved as printed.
Next are the bills for the 3 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and seconds. Discussion? Clarifying questions? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The bills are approved.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 13 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. Just have informational items for the board's information today. Starting with the first 3 items are really connected. We had a resignation of a probation officer 1 in our Community Corrections Department, so we initiated recruitment to refill that and have now filled that position. So moved very quickly on that one. Then we filled a number of positions, including an accounting coordinator in our finance department, a human service supervisor in our mental health center and human services. We also filled a part-time correctional officer in our jail. Then we had a request from a correctional officer who was full-time to go down to part-time, and so we granted that request and have initiated recruitment to refill the full-time position. Then we had a resignation of a correctional officer in the jail, so we've initiated recruitment to fill that part-time position. And again, we filled a number of positions, including a business analyst, application developer in our information technology department. We also filled a Microsoft 365 collaboration administrator in our IT department. Filled a library technician, a part-time position down at the library. We also filled the account clerk in our human resources department. And then lastly, filled a facilities maintenance technician as part of a new position request that was approved by the board. And so be happy to answer any questions the board might have on those informational items.
Questions? That's good, thank you.
All right. Tab 14 then is a memo regarding 3-2 liquor licenses. Just requesting board action to approve a 3-2 liquor license for the Cato Cycle Club. This is a license that will run April 1st of this year through March 31st of 2025. I would note that both the county attorney and sheriff have reviewed those license applications.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, discussion. We're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried, the license is approved.
Tab 15 then is a memo regarding the County Board of Appeal and Equalization. We have 3 individuals that have been on the County Board of Appeal and Equalization that have terms that expire this year. All 3 of those individuals have expressed a desire to continue to serve on the County Board of Appeal and Equalization. In addition to those 3, 1 member stepped down effective January 1st of this year, and so staff are recommending that Mr. Dan Robinson be appointed to fulfill that remaining term, which runs through the end of 2026. And so the recommendation is to reappoint Mr. Miller, Mr. Norland, and Mr. Wingert to 3-year terms expiring in 2027, and then the appointment of Mr. Robinson for a 2-year term expiring in 2026.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carried. Those appointments, reappointments and appointments are complete.
All right, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 16 is a document regarding a grant agreement between the county and Trellis. Trellis is a nonprofit that works in the housing area. And so this is an agreement that allows us to utilize our American Rescue Plan dollars to support housing projects in the community. And so this is a grant agreement for $275,000. Under the rules of the ARP, we have to be a little bit kind of nondescript here. We are granting these dollars to Trellis under the assumption that those dollars will be utilized in our community in the way that we've discussed with Trellis, but we are prohibited from articulating specifically what those grant dollars. But we do have assurances from Trellis that these dollars will go to a project in our community.
I'll move approval.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. That grant agreement is approved.
Tab 17 in your packet is a resolution regarding the countywide local option transportation sales and use tax. You may recall back in February that we brought forward a area transportation plan that listed out projects that would be eligible for the local option sales tax. As we worked with the Department of Revenue to extend our local option sales tax, they reminded us that they need a resolution from the board. And so the work that we had the board do back in February was not quite sufficient for the Department of Revenue. And so we're bringing forward this resolution, which basically amends the original local option sales tax that was approved back in 2015, I think is when it officially was approved. And this is just amending that to cover the new list of projects. And so bringing this here for the board's consideration today so we can get that extension complete.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The amendment is approved.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 18 in your packet is the financial status report for March 31st. We're a quarter of the way through our fiscal year, and you'll see our total revenues sit at about 18.5 million, expenditures at 28.9 million. So we are in that period again where we continue to draw from reserves to cover the shortfall until our first half property taxes arrive. Some items to point out, the transportation sales tax line on the revenue side is a little bit below prior years. That was surprising to me, and so I did go into the detail to look a little more closely, and we are missing a large chunk related to March collections. I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect it's related to this resolution that we just passed, that Department of Revenue is now kind of sorting out the elements of this extension of the sales tax, and that may have delayed our payment, but I'll certainly be watching for that payment to arrive timely, because we had been running above last year's pace, so it is surprising to see this report. On the expenditure side, just our contracts and fees line is running higher than prior years, largely because of CASA 13 work that continued over the winter, which is a bit unusual to see at this point in our financial situation. So other than those items, it's pretty straightforward. We still, I think, are very much on track with our budget. On the enterprise fund, you'll see that total revenues for Ponderosa is just under 1.1 million against expenses of just under 1.3 million. Again, I think we'll make up that deficit, which was largely caused by a large capital purchase early in the year, and so the revenues will catch up to those expenses as we proceed through the rest of the year. The second page then does show our cash balances. You'll see towards the top the total available funds sit at 70.4 million against a target of 62.5 million. Down towards the bottom, you'll see a total county funds line sitting at 131.2 million. And so we continue to sit in a very solid position, but we do have some large capital expenditures on the horizon that we're watching carefully. Be happy to answer any questions the board might have on the financial status report.
Clarifying questions? Thank you, Bob. Before we go to reports on commission, I'm going to go back. As mentioned, on tab 10 was the county attorney's monthly report. Mr. McDermott, any call out specific on that, or?
I just reaffirm, a couple weeks ago, or longer than that, I mentioned that excuse me, we've been seeing an increase in the tax appeals, especially in the apartment complexes, so that's gonna be a major workload for taxpayer services coming up this year in our office as well. So, but I just wanna make sure, call that out to the board. But I think last week we received 2 more, so I think we're up to at least 9, if not more. So, but we were able to settle 3 years of Coles. And they wanted to use Blue Earth County as the guinea pig, so to speak, in the state, so I think that's a good thing for everybody else involved.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Next is item number 10 on the agenda is commissioners' reports on the committees. Mark, would you like to start us off down at that end and we'll work around the horn?
I don't have much. Had a big break or whatever. Had one postponed. Did have department heads on last week. That's really all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brother?
All right, Mark, well, I'll use up your time then, because I have quite a few things, so. After our last board meeting, that following Thursday night, I had the extension meeting. Got a new 4-H coordinator, and I forgot her name, apologize for that, but she started last week? Yesterday, yeah. So she will be getting spooled up, just in time for the fair. Then that night, we were out at Blue Earth County Township Officers Meeting. They had a good turnout that night again, out at the Decoria Township Hall. Gave a report on a couple things going on here in the county, but a lot of discussion about the highway shop, because that was right about the time that was all going down. So a lot of positive feedback from that board, though. They're very supportive of our location we've picked. They think it's the right spot for that. And nobody there, Vance, you can correct me, but I think they were all very supportive of our actions that we've been taking so far. So good to hear. Then I had my ECB and my Emergency Communication Board, and then my Emergency Management Board. That following Thursday, not a whole lot going on with either one of those boards. Things are going well. ECB Board, I will acknowledge Tim Moore, who was the chairman of the advisory committee since the inception in 1998, I think. Stepped down and has let Mark Slater take over, Deputy Mark Slater take over as the chair. So that was the biggest change there. A lot of discussion about, again, the grants funding that I've reported on in the past, and how they want a fiscal agent for a region, and we don't think that's appropriate. So we're sending lots of letters and trying to deal with the board, trying to get that changed so that the any county can just file for a grant, get the grant, and then audit it in their own organization. So working on that as always. Mark mentioned department head, had a good meeting, got a couple updates from all of the department heads. Planning and zoning, we only had one item, relatively straightforward, no controversy, so we'll see that next board meeting. Actually made it to SWCD the other day, have not been able to get there for quite a while. Got to meet the new board member there, because I hadn't met him yet. And kind of business as usual there. Gave a report on the highway shop again. Again, I felt pretty positive. They thought it was appropriate actions were taken again, so good feedback. And then last Thursday morning, I had my emergency communication ledge meeting, and not a whole lot to report there. We're working through a couple things up at the state legislature, but not getting much traction with the couple things we're working on. So that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Vance, would you go next, please?
Sure. After our last board meeting on Thursday, the 21st, I had a NACO RAC Zoom, and then went to the township officers meeting, KIP. Again, that was, I believe we were well received with the whole public works. I think that was real positive. On the 22nd, I had a Transportation Alliance board meeting over Zoom. And then the next week, the 27th through the 29th, I went up and had an AMC Leadership Summit. Myself and Chair Pat were up there with staff from our office.
good education, good training there. On the 1st of April, I had an MRCI board and meeting, and then I was on vacation for a week, so I'm back.
All right.
Welcome back.
Patty, please.
I too was on vacation, but April 1st, I attended the NACO FIGA committee via Zoom. April 3rd, Secretary Vilsack was here at MSU, so I went to that. And April 6th, the Benco annual meeting. And that is my report.
Hey, thank you. Since our March 19th last board meeting, that afternoon I participated in the GMG Green Seam Ag Day events here in Mankato. On the 20th, we had a PACE committee meeting. That's the Property Assessed Clean Energy. We're the part of the Rural Minnesota Energy Board. We approved a number of grants for that. RAC call on the 21st. On March 25th, we had an additional PACE meeting with another one also as part of the Rural Minnesota Energy Board met. And the NACO Ag Policy meeting. The AMC Leadership Conference has been mentioned, 27th to 29th. I attended that, as well as the Vilsack event on the 3rd and the Benco annual meeting on the 6th. On April 8th, just yesterday, we had our NACO Ag Policy Leadership Call and the Minnesota River One Watershed, One Plan meeting yesterday afternoon. And that completes my report. At this time, we will ask for a motion to recess.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are recessed. Thank you.
Good job, Mr. Chair.